Bull or bear for Wednesday. Let's see what the coin says. And the coin falls on a bear. What coin am I spinning tonight, folks? Well, you probably wouldn't know that, but I thought it was pretty cool. 1799 Spanish 8 real. I think it's probably struck in Mexico. I can't see the mint mark right now. But anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. What are these things worth? I don't know, 75 to 125 bucks or something like that if they're in halfway decent condition. But again, that is the sound of a 1799 struck 8 reale in silver, obviously. Well, got the live, instead of fish watching tonight, doing a little people watching tonight, and the live Joe Robbie, the live, oh man, was it? Outside Sloppy Joe. Why am I saying Robbie? The live outside Sloppy Joe cam, live Duval Street. As you can see, a lot of tourists down there enjoying themselves, getting off the cruise ship, walking around, checking out Sloppy Joe, which is one of the popular bars down there that Ernest Hemingway, I think, made famous as well. But anyways, great camera here if you like people watching, especially any of you folks. Have any of you folks ever seen the it's called the Fantasy Fest that goes on down there? If you watch this cam live, it's just crazy stuff. And any of you Floridians that know about the Fantasy Fest know that as well. Kind of, Fantasy Fest is kind of the equivalent to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. If you get my drift here. But anyway, a little bit kind of weirder too as well. But great camera to bookmark here if you've never seen it, and look up the dates when the Fantasy Fest happens because you're not going to want to miss that. That's better than most YouTube and live TV out there to watch this live cam during Fantasy Fest. Well, anyways, a little history lesson there on cool things in Florida and events. Life only comes around once, so do whatever makes you happy and be with whoever makes you smile. What does this have to do with, folks? Well, this has to do with, it's absolutely, life only comes around once, as far as we know. Well, there's people that believe that we have secondary lives and third lives, reincarnation. There's, people that believe that there's an afterlife. There's people that believe that there's no afterlife. And I'm not here to say who's right or wrong, but I don't think that any religion would argue with the fact that, while you're here, live it to the best of your ability. Do whatever makes you happy, and be with whoever makes you smile. And the old, I won't say the older I get, but this kind of makes more and more sense as I get older. And what does this have to do with the price of gold, silver, and buying gold and silver? It has everything to do with what I talk about all the time, which is wealth preservation. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to get old. You don't want to be waiting for a government Social Security check to show up that we will buy less and less and less while you're sitting in your little hovel, your 10 by 10 hovel. And I'm not making any fun of people that are living on Social Security in meager means and barely being able to make it, folks. But what I'm trying to do is help people understand and teach people that not teach people, because I think people are anybody that follows gold and silver, anybody that follows my channel is already into wealth preservation. But I think strengthening the message on why you do it, why is wealth preservation is important, because if you do plan to live a normal range of a lifetime, which is, what is it, 72 or 74 for the average U.S. male in the United States. Maybe less now, but 72, 74 for the average. This is very important, and I can tell you a story that makes me think of this about wealth preservation, and again, why you want to do it, because you want to enjoy yourself, and again, you can't do it if you're living on a meager. Let me not say you can't do it, but it's much easier to enjoy your life if you have the money to do it and the resources to do it, and if you're not worried about where your next meal might come from. So, this is important stuff right here. Let me move into wealth preservation. It's funny. I'm sitting in my store right now doing the video, and a lady just came by and smiled and waved at me, so it distracted me a little bit. But that's what wealth preservation is all about. Wealth preservation is making sure that as you grow older. And if you're not a fatalist and you think that you're going to live the average U.S. male's lifespan or whatever lifespans supposed for your demographic, wealth preservation is a very important thing. And again, told you I was going to tell you a story about one time I lived in a certain area. I won't tell you where the details or anything like this, but I owned a home at one point, and I was working hard to keep that place. I was a bit younger, not as aggressive and money-wise as I am right now, and a lot of other things. But I was just I was doing okay, but I wanted to do better. But I had a knock on my door from a lady that. I open up my door, and she's probably in her 80s or something like that. It could be anyone's grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And just imagine, whoever. Just imagine your grandmother walking up to your door and knocking on the door, and she says, "Hey, can you help me out here?" And I said, and again, this little story I'm telling you had a huge impact on me in a big way about not wanting to get to that point in my life and be at that level, be at this point. But and I guess you know where I'm going with this. So I said, yeah, sure. What can I do? What can I help you with? And of course, any good person's going to do that, help their grandma or help a grandma-like lady. She says, can you come over to my place? So I go over to her place, and I get talking to her, and I didn't even know she was a neighbor. She lived in a house that was around the corner that was, not a really old home that was, kept up enough, you know what I'm saying? But on the inside, it was pretty atrocious. I go into her little place, and it was all nice and organized. And she says, well, I only live on Social Security. I got barely enough to eat. And I'm looking around, and I look at her kitchen area where she's eating. There's a hot plate. Her bed's there. And then I go in there, and it was just, it was heart-rendering, to say the least, because the conditions in which she was living, to me, were almost on a third world level to some degree. And again, I'm sure there are people who'd be looking at her situation saying, oh my God, she lives like a middle-class person. Believe me, I've been to some areas in the world that, she would have been considered middle class. But, I saw this. It had a huge impact in my life, and it reminded me why that, I had to be frugal and I had to be concerned about wealth preservation. Is because most of us are going to live a lot longer than we expected to, and the last thing you want to do is spend your final years living in a miserable situation, barely being able to eat. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. This is why you want wealth preservation. This is what gold and silver, and again, I'm getting back to gold and silver, why this is important about gold and silver. This is what gold and silver is about. It's about wealth preservation. It's not about getting rich quick. If you're looking to get rich quick, you're in the wrong. Yeah, you can make a lot of money if your timing is extremely perfect in this crooked gold and silver and precious metals market. And when I say crooked, of course it's crooked, but as I always say as well, if you don't play, you can't win. Every game is crooked in your life, and gold and silver and platinum have a good track record of always at least maintaining their value, okay? When I talk about maintaining their value, let's just look at silver, because a lot of people are going to diss on silver, and I can't argue with that. It's the most crooked frickin' market out there in the COMEX market. But as I've talked about, it's like being able to buy lobster at $1 a pound for the rest, for 40 years, which we've been able to do, buy this commodity on the cheap. But unlike lobster, lobster, they can't make paper lobster. They can't make paper derivative, COMEX contracts in lobsters. Silver they can, so that's why they've been able to keep this charade up for so long. But even if you look at the worst case scenario with these markets being completely rigged like they are, the COMEX silver markets being completely rigged like they are, in 1964 the minimum wage was I like this meme, by the way, and I got to give credit to whoever. Let me see, who did this? It doesn't say. Well, whoever did this, got to give you a lot of credit here. Good meme. And again, this is 2021. Silver was a bit higher at the time. But the minimum wage was 90% silver quarters, 1964. So the minimum wage was what? $1.25. In 2021, was there a minimum wage in 1964? I'm not sure, but let's just assume that the wage was $1.25. That was the average wage back then for a working class entry-level job. In 2021, 90% silver quarters have a melt value of $23.34. And this beam's correct. We don't need minimum wages. We need sound money. The sound money, that silver quarter, that was backed up, 25 cents that was backed up by silver, silver is still, 23.34. worth $23.34. That $1.25 is worth what? Still $1.25. And the same thing we talked about with gasoline. You know what I mean? A couple gas memes out here. 1964 gallon of gas for a silver quarter was about the same. Today, 2014, a gallon of gas, or not today, but in 2014, this meme says 375, and that probably would have been right. So, you know, the silver has kept up with the cost of living in a decent way, better than many other things out there that you would consider ways of having wealth preservation. You know, I'm not a real estate person. Perhaps you can say real estate's been a good way of wealth preservation as well. You know, if you've been lucky with stocks and that kind of thing, that's probably a wealth preservation too, I would imagine. If you know, but again, I'm not qualified to talk on stocks and real estate. What I am qualified to talk on is about this 5,000-year asset called silver and this 5,000-year-old asset called gold, which have throughout history always maintained their buying power as far as keeping up with being able, you know what I mean? Wealth preservation. So, what does this have to do with the older lady that I helped? By the way, if you're wondering what I helped her with, her bathroom, her bathtub, which was really a shower that she had created a little bathtub in. It was kind of, you know, I was about to say pathetic, but that's a mean thing to say, I think. It was sad. The situation she was living in was backed up, but unfortunately I couldn't do anything to her, you know, help her because her plumbing was probably so old and it was backed up. But man, oh man. Anyone ever have a moment like that? And again, it may not be meaningful to you, but a moment where you look and it was a life-changing moment where you realize, man, I better start doing something, man, because if I don't, and I do live a reasonable period of time, I do not want to have to rely on a Social Security check. And I see it in so many people, too. I see it in so many people that are living on Social Security checks right now. Listen, I'm not going to diss Social Security. It's the only thing that a lot of people have out there, unfortunately. And that's what happens when you get government dependent, when you get dependent on governments, and when you get rid of hard money, that exact kind of thing. So, well, I can go on and on and on, and we can go down so many rabbit holes with that, but absolutely true. Let's take a look at gold, silver, and platinum markets. Monkey hammered again by the crooked Crimex markets that I like to call the CME silver pits and the CME gold pits and the CME platinum pits. I am sure just as rigged. Platinum still unloved, great metal in my opinion. Doesn't have the track record of gold and silver as far as longevity. I forget when platinum was first really majorly discovered and used. Not 5,000 years like gold and silver, but just as rare, I'm sure, just not noticed until a more recent time frame. But platinum unloved below. Best time to buy something like I think is when it's unloved, and platinum is so damn unloved out here. Look at, below $1,000, man, with the current environment that we got with our paper money and fiat systems and every other commodity kind of getting ready to blast off. Food commodities off the chart, if you think about it, for the most part. Gasoline's going to go off the chart at some point. I honestly believe that, I know that silver markets and the gold markets are rigged by the CME Group, which is the largest commodity trading entity probably in the world, okay? And they have control over prices of wheat, gasoline, oil. The CME Group is just not silver, folks. And here's the question you have to ask yourself. If the CME Group is so complicit and so crooked, and again, worthless government agencies, the CFTC, they're supposed to regulate them, end up working for them, or probably are complicit or stupid, probably a little bit of both. If it's this crooked in the silver market, imagine what the markets are like in oil and gasoline and wheat and corn and all these other food markets. I'm sure they're just as crooked, especially when you consider that really those markets are no different than silver, just a lot bigger. Silver is such a small market that it's so obvious to see how crooked and manipulated the silver market is. Gold a little bit tougher because, again, we're dealing with central banks and a commodity that is used worldwide and is a central bank system. They're not going to screw with their own stuff. Central banks hold gold, so they're not going to allow the big commercial banks to fuck with it too much. You know what I'm saying? There goes 100 views right there. Well, there goes my video stuffed anyway. The bad word. So these markets are just plain cheap, folks. I would say I didn't name last night's video, but it was appropriately named at bargain basement prices out here as far as the gold, silver, and platinum price, and that means the premiums too. Premiums are super cheap on everything across the board. I don't even know if I need to talk about premiums because not much has changed. I think gold eagles we have for spot plus 110 or less. Gold maple leafs. By the way, local customer called me, and I kind of screwed up a little bit today. He said that one of the online people, Atmex, SD, or JM Bullion, had a sale on maple leafs and asked me if I could match or beat it. And I was thinking he said beat it, but I could match it. It was on sale. Once in a while, those companies will do sale prices. But I failed to look at my buy prices and see what I had available. You know, sometimes, for example, one company may have a particular product that I can't get or don't have access to, and they have a bunch of it that they can run a sale on. And obviously, I can't beat somebody's prices on something I don't have. But this customer did ask me about maple leafs, and I did discover that the price for me on maple leafs had dropped, and that I could have at least matched that price that SD had the price, the maple's on sale for. Anyway, if you're listening out there, yeah, I could have matched it. Sorry about that. I was just thinking beat the price, and I was thinking like, man, am I missing something here? And we were busy on top of it. But as you guys know, I'll advertise to beat or match Atmex, SD, and JM Bullion on their prices on precious metals out there, and we'll still do that. Gold Eagles spot plus 110 bucks or less. You shouldn't be paying more than that. If you live in South Florida, you need to be coming. I shouldn't say you need to become. You need to come and see me. Boy, that's a big ego right there, getting bigger. No, it really wasn't. What I'm saying is that if you're looking for a really good deal and you live in South Florida and you can come visit us, I'll beat the locals. I'll beat Atmex, SD, and JM Bullion on their commonly trading products that I have ability to get and trade with. And usually I have great access to really reasonably priced products, which are the ones that you really should be concerned with, not their esoteric products. But no less, can beat or match their prices, and I still stand by that. What does that mean? Well, I said no more than 110 bucks over on Gold Eagles. What are the best deal out there? The best deal is still freaking gold bars at spot plus 70 bucks. And what next after that? Spot gold. The bars that I have are about combis. Okay. There may be some cheaper bars out there that you can occasionally buy, and once in a while we'll get some bars out there that we can sell for even a little bit cheaper, and that includes some other products, but you have to come in for that to see what we do have on sale. I do throw some on sale stuff here in store only. But maple leafs, I think spot plus 83 bucks is our basic small quantity price right now. Again, one of those companies had them on sale, and it was a little bit cheaper, but I feel I could have matched their price after I took a look. So I misspoke, Mr. Customer. Anyways, you're going to get a great deal, whether it's from us or from them, hopefully from us. Krugerrands, spot plus 80 bucks or less. I think that would be the next best deal out there. Gold elephants, which I had a really good line on, seem to have gone up a little price, and the quantity is a little bit limited, so I'd stick with KRs as far as my locals go. That's what I would recommend. A lot of good fractional products, just a lot of good deals out there in general. 90% prices, spot plus 4 bucks or less. 100-ounce bars are still a great deal at spot plus 260. 1-ounce rounds at spot plus 285 or less. Kilo bars, I still have access to the cheaper kilo bars. I think I get them for spot plus 2 1/4, which I think is a damn good price as well. And what to stay away from: silver eagles are still overpriced. Spot plus 875, give or take a little bit, still overpriced in my opinion. Can you still go out there and make that good deal for a trading your silver eagles for generic stuff? Yeah, but it's not much. I did a math for a gentleman the other day. He says, well, if I trade 100 ounces of silver eagles, how much could I get in generic prices? And I think it was like 106 and change, just shy of 107 ounces. So I mean, that's not bad. Trade your silver eagles, get 100 silver eagles and get 107 ounces of generic silver back. That's still not bad. I'd still go for that deal myself personally, but it's not the super fantastic bigger number that it once was for a little while when premiums are much crazier. Well, anyways, I'm going to throw that list down. Not much has changed there. Again, if you live in South Florida, you know who I advertise. Beat the locals as well. And there's some good locals around here. Nothing to take away from them guys. I just want to be very competitive. If you're going to be competitive and you want to sell a lot of stuff, who you got to beat? Well, you got to beat the good people locally and the good people online. And I do that, man. That's my goal, at least. Let's get into the news. And I'm screwing with you because I don't usually ever look at the Wall Street Journal because of bullshit. Like, I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal for over a decade, paid their subscription price, whatever the hell it was. But the more and more I started looking at it, the more and more I started thinking that, man, I'm just being fed propaganda and bullshit all the time. I'd like to take a look at sites that have a little bit more breadth and a little more ballsy type, non-conforming Western media liberal bullshit. I don't know. Anyways, Biden to tout economic gains in State of the Union. Wow, he looks actually cognizant there, right there. Excuse my expression. But Powell braces for longer inflation fight as hiring remains strong. I mean, folks, I don't even know how I read the Wall Street Journal all these years and didn't understand that it's just a bunch of bullshit spin, by a bunch of liberal reporters for the most part that are working for a financial newspaper that, their advertisers tell them what to say about. Anyways, where are we going to go from here? We're going to go into ZH, the bad boys of the news bloggers out, not the news bloggers, but the bad boys of news hubs out there that bring in all kinds of controversial comments, controversial headlines, and controversial subjects as well. I'm going to go over this. Nothing good. What does this have to do with the price of gold and silver? Good things, probably, because when nothing good is happening when it comes to economics, politics, and all this other stuff, that's probably even a better reason to own gold, silver, and platinum as wealth preservation, folks. That's what I'm talking about, not getting rich quick. But, we'll all have our oh shit moment when we wake up one morning, gold, silver, and platinum goes up dramatically. But, don't look at gold, silver, and platinum as a get-rich investment. Look at it as a safe haven and a great, again, place. I said wealth preservation. Boy, if that was a drinking word tonight, wealth preservation, all of us, I'd be on the counter right now, probably, or on the bar. U.S. consumers hit a brick wall. December credit growth craters is nothing good there, folks. This is absolutely correct. You don't see this in the and this is true too. You don't see this in the front headlines of Wall Street Journal. Why? They spend unicorns and rainbows up our asses. No rad, please. Well, anyways, yeah, tell us something we didn't know. Metaverse, the land of opportunity. No, the land of fantasies for children. Who the F would go into a metaverse where you go in there with a bunch of, again, in an artificial world? Children live in fantasy worlds, and that's what metaverse is. It's a fantasy world. Children live in fantasy worlds. Adults live in reality. So, and believe me, there's a lot of 40 and 50-year-old children out there that are stuck in these fantasy lands. It's easy for them to, suck people in, especially if you're 40 and you're still living at home. But anyways, I don't want to be tough on you guys. Sorry. Denialism, a woke way to stifle dissent. New York suburbs, Buck Trent, his open house says, yeah, people want out of the cities. They want into the suburbs, even to the New York City suburbs, because being in the city sucks. Love to visit there, hate to live there. Miami leaders apologize to government. Yeah. Well, is this the guy that might potentially be running for president? As a Floridian, I hope not, because I'd hate to lose him as a governor, quite frankly. But I don't think so. I think that could be very, well, I don't know. In the primaries, I think the man has a good chance of winning if he does go, but I'd like to see him stay in Florida personally. That's my selfish view as a South Florida resident, that we want him for ourselves. So far, listen, far from perfect. I'm not going to say far from perfect, but far from the disaster that governors from California and other states, Maryland, New York, far from the disaster that those people are, that this man is right here. Again, far from perfect too. They like to give you the idea that he during the critter situation back in 2020 that Florida was absolutely free and open state. That's not true at all, man. These fuckers locked. There goes all my views. These guys locked this place down faster than anything, but they did open it up faster than anyone else. But still, they became fascist. There you go, dictators. Very quickly, and actually that's the one beautiful thing about that whole 2020 critter. We found out who the fascists and the dictators were, even coming down to finding out how much control a city council person has or a local county commissioner has. We found out who has the ability and who are the fascists and the dictators out there. That's my opinion. Interesting. We should talk about this because a lot of people are going to say gold and silver prices tanked because of Powell getting more bullish. That is going to be your CNBC. Well, gold prices have gone down because Powell's going to be more bullish. Interest rates are going to rise. This is negative for the price of gold. And Kramer's going to probably say that, and a bunch of other people that have no fucking clue. There goes all my viewers are going to say the same thing. But the truth of the matter is that no, that's not it, folks. When it comes to silver, silver is just pure manipulated. The only reason silver goes up and down is at the will of the crooks in the Crimex markets, the big commercials that, again, we talk about it all the time, not going to go there, but has nothing to do with Powell and interest rates. Even if Powell raised interest rates substantially, silver should still be double or triple the price it is right now. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. Let's move along from here. Oh man. This guy, like I said, if you want to look at a complete polar opposite of DeSantis, here he is right here. Absolute freaking family, like one of the Bushes out there, just part of that family political process, that crony family political bullshit that goes on. Anyways, all right. Listen, this is just a distraction. You know what this is a distraction from? Distraction from following what's happening in the war over on the other side of the world, because the particular enemy that we don't like, not these guys, but the other red guys, are winning in that particular country called Ukraine. Anyways, don't want to talk about that either. I know I sound a little paranoid about this. I think I can get away with cuss words, but I don't think I can get away with discussing about how badly a particular country this moron is supporting is losing in that region. And this is just a mere distraction, that stupid spy balloon. At least that's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. Markets dance to the sound of Powell. At least that's what they think. If the other markets are anything like silver market, then they're not dancing to Powell. They're dancing to big commercial banking interest. All right, the more and more I look at how crooked the silver market is, and it's such a tiny market by these big commercials, it makes me wonder if every other market that the COMEX CME crooked group casino runs, this is my opinion, the people are opinion, they're much smarter than me, that it's a crooked group, and anyways, do I need to tell you this? Boy, if they screw with the silver market like this, can you imagine what they do with oil markets and food markets? The price of food probably is not dramatically up because of farmers and needing more money. You know why it's probably up? Because of the greedy, crooked derivative paper markets. The price of gasoline probably doesn't go up and down because the guy pumping it out of the ground needs more money. It probably goes up and down because of the crooks in the derivative paper markets. Because if it happens in the silver markets, I'm telling you folks, I bet it's happening in other markets out there. The credibility of the CME group and that whole paper derivative bullshit market, in my opinion, zero. All right, let's get into huge buying opportunity. The video from yesterday, Marcelo named that, but he's not too far off. I worry about clickbait titles, but it's right. It is a huge opportunity to buy right now. Premiums are way low. The price of silver and gold's way low. I'm telling you, folks, you can buy silver and mostly silver and gold products cheaper with the price of metal being higher. When silver and gold were lower it costs more with the premium to buy than it currently does with the price of silver and gold higher. Because the premiums have dropped dramatically on the sales side for many different reasons. And, my opinion, of course, is that people are gun shy when they see prices move up $5 in silver, and that's what we've been seeing for a little while. And gold prices, remain pretty steady, but the gold eagles have dropped off dramatically because perhaps the retail buyers for gold eagle have dropped off as well. Hopefully, they've discovered other products that are just as competitively priced, but who the hell knows on that? All right, let me get into today's questions. Close your eyes if you get dizzy, because I do. I get emotional. I can be out in a boat in 6-foot seas as long as the water's not coming over the bow, and I won't get seasick. But man, spin that down like that. Woo, that gets me dizzy. All right, that's what happens when you get old. Hang on one second. I need to sit. My throat is dry. Linda Compton. Yeah, that was pretty cute last night, wasn't it, Linda? Darren, the spiritual atheist, says, well, at least I got to buy some cheaper silver. Good for you, dude. By the end of the month, there will be a short on silver supply, and chaos ensues, adding to the... let's see what happens, I hope, by the end of the month. Thomas Sowell is actually a very intelligent guy. Again, if you just take do that right there. Do Thomas Sowell and type in... there's so many talks by this guy. He is very intelligent. I'd say, when I say conservative, I mean really true in the sense of conservative with his money, with money. A lot of conservatism is confused with right-wing bullshit or whatever the hell they call it. But there he is, Thomas Sowell, in the midst of economic inequality. Some really good stuff out here. I mean, you can really get lost in his videos here. Highly recommend that some of you watch. And look, Joe Rogan, shocked to learn about Thomas. So anyway, a lot of good videos out there. If you haven't seen him before, I highly recommend you watch some of his stuff. It'll make you much smarter than your average bear, and certainly much smarter than your neighbor, I'm sure. Because you know what? If you're listening to my videos, I know you're smarter than your neighbor. There goes my ego again, man. Third, there you go, Show Pro. What's up, dude? My favorite Northeasterner fella that discovered Florida and loves it down here. Another South, I'm gonna call you a Floridian for now on, sir. Sorry about that. Strongman says, agreed, a great buying opportunity. Monkey hammered again. Mark Hammett, thank you, appreciate that. Watch him most nights. I had one gentleman tell me that his wife said that my voice puts her to sleep at night. And hey, listen, it's like, you remember the old days when clock radios used to wake you up at 8 a.m. and your favorite radio station would have like an 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. wake up song. So I am that go to sleep video probably now, the newer version of that. Soothing. I'm not sure my voice is like soothing and puts people to sleep. Maybe it's the subject matter. I couldn't argue with that. You're talking about the same old manipulating nonsense out there and the same old crooked, greedy economic and political people, and the same old wars and the same. All right, you know where I'm going. I picked up and 25 maple. It's good for you, Dario. Good deal, man. I think these premiums and these prices are a great buying opportunity. Jim says, yep, got a great deal on a tube of King Chucky's. You lost me on King Chucky's, dude. Is that a spell check or? Oh man, maybe I should know that. It's slang in the stacking world for something, I'm sure. King Chucky's, all right. Got to let me know there. Nothing goes straight up. Stay the course. Stackers agree with you, Rick. Rob F. What's up, Tracy and Norman? If the products are so controlled so much, why own it? Tracy, if watch last night's video where Ted Butler was talking about they're going to lose control of it at some point. It's a physical product. It's just like, again, they can create all the paper they want, but once they start having a hard time raising product, silver is used in industrial and investment demand, and some people are not. You can't hand a guy that makes electronics. You can't hand someone that needs silver for photoelectronic or photoelectric manufacturing, stuff, and say, here, we don't have the silver, but here's the paper. Use that instead. You can't do that. You got to deliver the silver. And Ted Butler is absolutely correct. At some point, because of their manipulation, they're going to completely destroy supply and demand fundamentals, which is going to cause major issues when manufacturing and investment starts to peak up and there's no real silver to supply to them. Okay, I hope you get that. It is a little complicated, but that's why you want to own it. And the other reason you want to own it, because again, listen, a silver quarter in 1964 to buy a gallon of gas, that silver quarter will still buy a gallon of gas. At the very least, it's wealth preservation. Wellco Services says, be well. You say that all the time. Thank you, I appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Linda. Great vid as usual. Joe Peppers, thanks, Rick. Don't worry about your word choices. Yeah, we're all adults here, man. I'll throw out a few F-bombs, but I do believe they sincerely kind of, you don't get your videos put out in the feed. You know what I mean? Don't get them out in the general feed if you don't abide by their rules. So, your videos do get limited amount of views, especially if you throw out some cuss words, as I like to say, a few F-bombs like I like to do, and especially some subjects which they're very sore about. So, you do have to avoid what you talk about. These channels do knock your viewers down. I suspect that my view count, and again, that might be my ego and paranoia a little bit, but I suspect my view count is not near what it should be, because I do talk about some controversial stuff. I don't think, I do think they have an AI program that looks at what videos are out there and kind of rates them on a certain level and says, okay, if you want to talk about, puppy dogs and, that kind of, if you want to talk about puppy dogs and kittens and cute animal memes and stuff like that, here you go. We're going to put you on the top, 10 million. If you want to talk about, how you're liberated from this or that, but if you want to talk about politics and stuff we don't agree with, yeah, you're not going to get your channel views. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm sticking with it. James, I hope to see you in Lakeland as well. Thank you for the compliment. And Pike says, I almost choked when you said stuffing your dollars in your boots. Well, there's a kind of true story to that. Back, our founding fathers, before they wrote in the Constitution that Congress should author, gold and silver should be the official use of money well, anyways, I should know that better, but constitutionally, gold and silver are hard money. Our founding fathers learned that lesson because trying to fund the Continental War, they did issue fiat, which was known as continental currency, which were also known as shin plasters at some point, because their intention was not to print too many of these things, but Congress had no choice. They were trying to fund a war against a powerful country, England, so they defaulted on these continental currencies, and they ended up being called shin plasters because soldiers would stuff them in the boots to keep warm during the wintertime war. Interesting story. I figured I'd share that with you guys. Peter, I just don't make stuff up. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. Peter Cohen says, money invested is far better than money saved. When you invest your money, it works for you and helps to bring more money back to you. Money invested is far better than money saved. Let's see, I saved a meme for that. Investing is for wealth preservation, not wealth creation. So first you have to make wealth. So I think there's kind of a little disagreement between those kind of things, but I agree with that. Money invested is far better than money saved. But you can lose money. Well, boy, that's a convoluted statement that I'm not going to answer, because you're probably right there, Peter, on some levels. But I also believe that, this statement is most true. Investing is for wealth preservation, not wealth creation. So first you have to make the wealth. But again, we're kind of just mincing words and stuff like that. So I would agree with your statement and mine. Nimitz says DXY, US dollar strength climbed higher. Who cares? Nimitz, that's true, but it really has nothing to do with the price of silver. It's just the price of silver is controlled by a bunch of crooks in the Crimex, NYMEX markets. That's a fact. Rainbird, thanks, Nimitz, for commenting. I don't think I've seen you comment for a while. I don't believe. And this might be your first time. I don't remember. Pretty good at remembering commenters out there. Rainbird says, paper silver is always profitable for banks who can slam it at will. That's absolutely true. It's what we've been talking about. Paper price usually becomes a real silver price. How can stackers and investors expect a profit when a casino always wins? Well, again, Rainbird, if you look at this from what I've been talking about as wealth preservation, we were talking about, where is it? Right there. There you go. You cannot complain about silver as at least holding its own in its purchasing power, its ability to purchase stuff. So, if you think about it, silver's held its very, very, very well against purchasing power, against other commodities and types of things, including housing even. Silver's not done bad in that regards as well. it's really all about wealth preservation, and we are going to have our morning when we wake up and go, wow, I can't believe silver's how much? Beep, bleep, bleep. Thanks for commenting, Rainbird. Appreciate it. I hope your day is well. CFTC is under the payroll of manipulators. I don't know if under the pay. Again, they're either morons and or complicit. You know, I mean, complicit morons. I mean, that's a possibility. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Agree with you. Philip Stanton says, Brian, what's the real deal with Mexican Libertads? Overpriced for sure. They have a big demand. I think it's a collectability demand. You should not be buying them as an investment in a silver because the premiums are just absolutely ridiculous. If you think you're cool and you want to own a set of them and you don't mind a couple years from now maybe selling them for their melt value because silver went so high and nobody wants to pay that premium, then fine if you enjoy it. But again, are you collecting or are you stacking? To me, stacking is really about stacking the cheapest, least premium that you can buy simply for the intent of taking advantage of silver prices. Collecting is about buying something that you think is pretty and you like to look at and you like to own and collect and you enjoy. I mean, so there's two different things there. Appreciate your comments, Philip. Hot-headed Joel says, ha ha. I've had the same attitude for 35 years. Decades, I would say this can't be going much longer. There's just no way. And here we are almost 40 years later. They will manipulate the market for 2 years to come. Silver is the most undervalued metal. I agree. Will it remain undervalued? I don't agree, hot-headed Joe. I don't think it will remain. I think we're going to see another $50 plus moment. At some point, again, I think it's just going to spin out of their control as well. Whether they can rein it back in their control, I don't know. But it really has to do with Ted Butler, and we've all been talking about. At some point, when manufacturers need silver to produce products and investors want silver to have bars in their basement, you can't hand them paper. It's just not going to happen. That's the difference between paper things like crypto, where they don't really exist, and real things that people actually use and need. Thanks for watching, Hot-Headed Joe. Haha. Welco. Dude, man, that's a lot of B-Wells. Thank you. Michael Matthews, what's up? How you doing? Cheers to you as well. My throat is dry. I'm going to do a quick sip here. It's not who votes, it's who counts. Yeah, that's true, man. You know, like I said, everything in our life is rigged. I believe, well, let me not say that because I want at least more than 3 viewers tonight. Well, listen, there's my ego talking. Why would I want more than 3 egos? Viewers. Ego, I'm telling you. Paul Wilson says, so the prices have been manipulated. Bankers have been able to buy cheap. Central banks worldwide have been buying huge quantities in recent decades. Might be sure. Why would worldwide central banks buy these metals in such huge quantities? Central banks do not buy silver. Remember that. Central banks buy gold. And gold is limited. And gold is money. They even know that. That's why central banks buy it. These are institutions above everybody else who understand what is not. Yeah, absolutely true. Can't argue with that. Gold is a tier. Why did they make gold a tier 1 asset? Because they own it. That's why. And that's why they won't allow big commercial banks to come in and do what they've done to silver. Because banks don't own it. That's my opinion. Paul, let me finish what you say there as well. No, can't argue that as well. Chris Fetters, what's up? So much knowledge on a daily basis. What channel is that, man? Let me know. I need to find that knowledge, that daily basis knowledge, man. No, you're not talking about me, obviously. I'm just sharing with you stuff that you already know. I'm just reminding you about it. You guys are all the geniuses out there. Well, I think that's it, folks. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. If you live in South Florida, we are the place to come to for buying and selling gold, silver, and platinum. Also rare coins, paper money, and other cool stuff as well. So keep me in mind and other stuff. But very competitive. We'll advertise to beat APMEX, SDJM, Bullion, and the local guys down here. And happy to do it. You know why? Because if you want to get somewhere in any any industry, you got to be able to beat the big guys and the good guys out there. And that's what I try to do. And again, all the people that I can beat their prices I have a lot of respect for them as well. That's what competition is about. Hey, listen, if you get a chance, come see me at the Lakeland Correctorama show, the Collectorama show. Coins, paper money, jewelry, all kinds of cool stuff there. That's supposed to be a moving ad. Let me see if I can get that thing to move here a little bit. Get that background going. There you go. Nice background. You see we got a nice website. All kinds of cool stuff going on there. Coins, silver, paper money, gold coins, proof sets. A cool show. I hope a lot of you guys get to come out there. Again, it starts February 16th to 18th. If you're a dealer out there and you want a table, I got a few tables left as well. And looking forward to meeting some of you guys out there too. Well, listen, thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye now.